What would you mean? Welcome to another episode of Subconscious Realms. I'm your host, General Lee, and for tonight, we welcome back, in my opinion, one of the most fascinating guests we've had on, who brings nothing less than absolute fire. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the host and creator of Demonosophy and Beyond, Zero. And now then, Zero, mate.
Hey, what's up, man?
I'm good, mate. Are you good?
I'm great.
Oh, sound. I'm made up. I am made up. We're doing another show tonight. Really am. Well, speaking to you, mate, the perspective that you carry with you, it's extraordinary. And I mean that. I'm saying that at least. There's nobody else has the approach like what you've got.
Well, I've absorbed a lot of information. I've done a lot of experimentation. I do my best to report the facts, according to my experiences, and then I compare them to other people's experiences, and that's the final package is Demonosophy and Beyond, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it's one. I mean, I'll put it like this, mate. Right? It's you're so unique in your approach, but at the same time, like the information's there. You only have to check it, and it's just my opinion, always spot on. And that's why I like you and your channel so much.
Well, when coming up, my family always taught me to do my research. If you have an opinion about something, be sure to back things up. So that's what I do. I read stuff. I don't just take one source for, as truth. Like I go to other sources. Like right now, I'm studying the Gnostic Gospels. When it comes to angels, when it comes to Jesus, all this crazy stuff.
Nice.
And, and like it, man, just the information that I'm learning, it's so different from what I was taught growing up, and that's one of the craziest things about like my studies. It forces you to just throw everything you think you know out the window.
Yeah. I mean, I can fully relate to that because when we was growing up, what we was taught in school is completely different than what the kids are being taught now. Completely. Now, I understand things change, but I'm talking, we might as well not have existed back then.
Oh yeah, like everything just is, whether it has a foundation in truth or not, like it's just tossed out the window. Even when I was in high school, they gave us the choice of whether to embrace evolution or the creation theory. And now I don't even know if anything that makes any sense is being taught in schools.
Was it even any of it true? Because there's so much they've kept from us, so much. It's like we mentioned when we first spoke, it's like they're preventing any form of progression on whatever level. They just want us at a certain level. We're as good as, quote, sheeple.
Well, I feel like the best lies have truth mixed in them. So you will find bits and pieces of truth, but not enough to connect the dots.
Yeah, as if it's like giving you a bit of a clue, but yet you've got to make that the rest of it yourself.
Yeah, and most people don't have the time or the will to try to connect those dots, to try to do like the research and go get this book here, go get that book here.
Yeah.
Like, but me, I grew up reading books. Like I've been called a nerd and stuff like that, which is fine. And I like the journey. So
Yeah.
here I am. And it's funny because a lot of the stuff that I've been researching and talking about and finding out for years, like now it's all just coming to the surface. Like if you look at YouTube, you have a lot of similar channels with practitioners who are talking about the same thing that, you know, my spirits talk to me about, or I've just been researching. So I feel like even though we've been lied to for a long time, the truth does not stay underneath the surface. It comes out eventually.
Yeah, I get you, mate. I get you. And when you're actually uncovering it yourself, like what you do, I guess that's going to make the journey that even much better.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's why I like your channel so much, mate. The material that you cover and the way you explain it as well. You don't talk in riddles as such. The way you explain it is spot on. It's like you've got a laid back approach, but it's very positive. And
well,
you know,
I come from a teaching background. I've spoken to people of all different backgrounds. I used to teach kids. So my thing is, if you're going to teach magic, if you're going to talk about magic and you want to come at the lay people, you have to speak in their language. You know, like I understand how things were spoken in code because back in the day, like it was illegal to do these things, but now it isn't so. You know, and you have so many people who are searching for an alternative, who are searching for the truth, and they deserve it, you know. And they talk about how the occult things are hidden. Well, they're still hidden, even if I put them in plain sight, because if you're not meant to get the information, it doesn't matter how much I can break it down, how many small words I can use, you still won't get it.
Yeah, I get you, mate. So, it's all so fucking fascinating to me. I just love it all. But anyway, before we begin, mate, would you like to let everybody know where they can get hold of you?
I'm sorry?
Before we begin, would you like to let everybody know where they can get hold of you, please, sir?
Oh, yes. Demonosophy and Beyond is my YouTube channel. My email account is derelictdemon@gmail.com. It's all one word. I also have a site on Square, but the link is on the Demonosophy and Beyond channel because it's too long for me to remember. But that's where I offer my digital book because my physical copy is all sold out.
That's brilliant news, that, by the way. Brilliant that you've sold your physical copies out. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. I never thought that so many people would be interested in, what I would have to write. But then again, I never thought that there'd be so many people interested in what I'd have to say. So it's been a nice, pleasant surprise.
Surprise yourself, on you then, mate. Surprise yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I started this in 2020 just because I had nothing else to do, and now it's picking up. It's a beautiful thing. I offer mentorship on that site, and I also offer Reiki healing as well. So.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, I've been all over the board, not just demons. You know, I've been studying a lot of things because it all kinds of it overlaps. You know, in one way or another.
Yeah. And I will add that whenever I've contacted you, even when I first contacted you the very first time, you got back to me almost immediately.
Oh yeah, like I try to do my best. Like I live a regular life, but at the same time, this is also my life as well. And like you never know what kind of conversations you'll spark up, or what kind of like people you'll meet, or who you'll help. So I try to get back to people as soon as possible.
Yeah, and you do, mate. That's one thing. What I was most impressed with, anyway, because a lot of people don't always get back to you. There's a lot of ignorant people out there, and considering that if you're asking somebody who you're obviously you want some sort of information or help, you'd think that they would be more inclined to like your approach.
Yeah.
Your approach is spot on, mate. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people are concerned with, either what can they get out of it, or I mean, like, if they just don't get back to you, I don't understand that mindset,
Yeah. It's mad, mate. It's mad. I
mean,
think a lot of it could be ego, mate. It could be a bit of a, thinking that.
I mean,
they're above people.
Some of the haters that post on my my channel, like I reply to them, so.
Oh, you get knobheads everywhere, mate. You get them everywhere. It's one of them.
But it's kind of funny whether or not I reply to them. Sometimes I'll have other people who just kind of like eviscerate those people.
Yeah, jump on. Yeah, well, should they?
Or they'll be like, "This is not the guy to come after because like he's gonna hit you with some knowledge." So, and yeah, I usually,
it's not wise anyway. It's not. I wouldn't say it was wise to have a go at you anyway.
Well, it's. I do like it because it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me sharp. But at the same time, most people are ignorant where they don't back anything up. Like they don't have an educated debate. I would appreciate it if you're gonna come for my neck. All right, be informed. Like use some sources, something. Like give me a challenge. Don't just condemn me because that's the way to do things.
Yeah, that says to like an idiotic comment when it's like I said, it's not necessary. If you've got a genuine debate or something that you think that you're wrong about, then say it. But have your facts there ready, like you said.
Yeah, because like I'm not closed-minded. Like I'm open to new information, discussion. Let's do this like a mature person. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk it out. Let's see where we have a foundation, and then let's see where we disagree, and see where that leads to.
Yeah. But I mean, mate, you can have conversations here, even though you've got a disagreement, you can still have a civilized conversation with somebody.
Exactly. Because I feel like my experiences are different from everybody else's, so I don't have the answer to everything. I'm here to, if I know something and you're looking for something, I'm here to point in the direction. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Good luck to him, mate.
Yeah.
Anyway, due to popular demand, right, and I'm talking about myself, I have always been fascinated with demons, and there's nobody else worthy, I would say, to explain to our listeners than you. You're the man, mate.
That makes me warm all in my chest, man. I love you too.
Yeah. Brilliant, mate. Where do we begin?
All right, so man, let's just begin from the start. I'll tell you about my work with demons. Okay, so I think we discussed it, but I've also discussed it on my channel. I used to be a Christian. The devil's underneath every rock, behind every bush, yada yada yada. Okay. And so, I actually have been interested in the devil because the more you condemn somebody, the more curious I am, because it's like, well, what's their side of this story? And
fair point, mate.
Huh?
Fair point.
Yeah. So, when I was phasing out of Christianity because it wasn't doing anything spiritually for me, I was trying to figure out, well, what beliefs would I keep and what beliefs would I throw out the window? And, 1 second.
No problem, mate. It's okay.
No, I'm sorry. I just need to. Let me.
It's all right, mate.
Yeah.
It's all right, mate.
There we go. Okay. So anyway, back to the story. I was just like, well, if Christianity kind of feels like bullshit to me, then maybe I should just try the opposite of everything that I used to believe. And it was slow going when it came to demons, because you hear a lot of propaganda about them being dangerous, about them, possessing people. You see a lot of movies about this stuff. And man, I don't even know why I'm still alive. Because like when I decided that I had enough balls to deal with demons, I started off with the Solomonic practices.
Is that the lesser key, that, mate? The lesser key of Solomon?
Yeah, stuff like that.
All right, okay.
It's like, oh, here's some angels and here's some stuff, and if you don't do what I want you to do, I'm gonna burn your sigil and I'm gonna hurt you and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And it just didn't feel right to me, And I tend to think logically. I'm like, why would anybody want to do anything for you if all you do is threaten them? And so,
yeah.
And it's just like, even if they do what you want, what's to stop them from, after they're done doing it, just busting your shit wide open? You know what I'm saying? Like, and these are demons that we're talking about. So,
yeah.
So I felt personally that I had to change my perspective. Like, this was the mainstream stuff when you heard about working with demons. And so I was just like, you know what? Nothing's happening, which is both a good and bad thing. It's good in the sense that nothing bad is happening, but bad in the sense that I'm not getting what I want.
Yeah.
So I decided to switch up my approach. So I started looking for information on people who were daemonolators, which is basically they worship demons. Now, I wasn't looking to worship anything, because coming out of Christianity, that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. But I still wanted to kind of make contact and see what the other side was like.
Yeah.
So I continued with the route with the goetic spirits, which are the 72 demons that were involved with Solomon, supposedly. But I wanted to work with a demon that wasn't known to be destructive. So I started looking through things, and I found Buer, Buer. And he's
Buer. Right, okay.
Yeah, and he's a demon that specializes in health, both mental and physical. So he was one of the first demons, quote unquote, that I actually started working with on a semi-regular basis.
Yeah.
Another reason why I was working with him was because when I first started getting into magic, I was working with herbs and doing things for healing and stuff like that. So he was right up my alley. So the big moment that came was when I used to work at a psych hospital overnight. I came back home.
Very interesting, that, mate.
Yeah, it's very interesting. In fact, I think I've come upon some patients who were actually possessed, but I'm no priest.
Understandable, that, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think? Sorry to interrupt, mate. Do you think that a lot, a majority of possession goes hand in hand with those unfortunate individuals that have got mental health problems?
I think that mental health problems can open the door, but
Right.
I think the mental health problems can also be caused by possession. So
I get you. Yeah, get you.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they rely upon science, so I feel that there are probably a lot of possessions that are going on that people don't notice, and it eventually gets to the point that there's a point of no return. with certain possessions, and because you're too busy pilling up somebody, um, the negative things that are happening tend to snowball, and those people are lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, in the same breath, let me say that possession is not always a bad thing. Um, it depends on the mindset of the person. It depends on the approach, and it depends on whether or not they're willing to accept that spirit and understand what that spirit is there for.
Yeah.
So, back to Buer. I came home from work. I was exhausted, like totally exhausted. And I was going to take like a 2-hour nap because I had something else to do. So I just asked Buer, I said, like if you want to, if you can, I said, I need, some help. Like I'm totally exhausted. Can I have some energy? Now, the thing about demons is when they give you what you want, they also have a tendency to teach a lesson. So at this point in my life, I was depressed. I was kind of, I was self isolating, and when I went to sleep, I had this dream, and this dream was like of this abandoned town, and there were like buildings on fire and stuff like that. It was a real creepy place because, like, um, even though there was nobody there, it felt like somebody was just constantly watching me. And I'm walking through this abandoned village, this abandoned town. I go into this warehouse, and there's this portal that opens up in this warehouse, and I end up falling through this portal where it's like a parallel dimension where everything looks the same, but there's no way to get back, and that parallel dimension is just empty, like no people whatsoever. And I ended up hurting myself, like breaking my foot or something like that, where I couldn't get back through the portal and the portal closed. So when I woke up, I felt like at 112%. Like I felt great. I felt like I had had a good night's sleep. And this is only 2 hours.
Okay, man.
But
sounds crazy, that.
Yeah, it was. But like I was disturbed about the dream. So when I went to kind of look up the meaning of the dream, basically Buer was telling me that if I kept isolating myself, things would not go well for me. So I had to make a point of trying to socialize. And
right.
When I did, when I just and it was, I did something totally random, totally stupid. I went on Craigslist just to like talk to people, and I ended up making like a great friend. And from there, I started socializing more with people, face to face.
Yeah.
And my, life got better. So when that happened, I was like, this demon thing, like that's it. It can't be all that bad, And that was kind of like my in to, the beginning of my demonosity.
Yeah. So that like, I guess with the experience not being nefarious, I guess that may be what spurs you on even more to want to look into it further. Because I mean, like you say, how do I word this now? Like the way they depict it, it's always bad. When you're saying that doesn't sound bad to me. Now I know people might think, "Oh, well, yeah, you're fucking saying this." No, I'm just being honest. That does not sound nefarious to me.
And the funny thing is, people will be like, "Oh, well, demons, they'll start off nice and they'll lure you in, but then when they have you, they'll trap you and they'll possess you and hurt you and stuff like that." I've been doing this for 16 years. I've been letting demons in and welcoming them and stuff like that. Like they've had plenty of time. to do bad things to me. They've had plenty of opportunity, and it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. There
Incredible.
have been disagreements. Like let me clarify. Okay, so
Yeah.
demons all have different personalities. So there is going to be a certain spirit. There are going to be certain spirits that you don't get along with. There may even be fights that you have with certain spirits. Okay, so demons aren't just all unicorns and rainbows and stuff like that. No. Um, Plus, you have to take into consideration the nature of being a demon. Okay, so these are mostly chaotic entities.
Yeah.
They're very highly evolved, but it's they live off of like natural law, which is basically the strongest survives. Okay, so that's basically just fighting every day of your life for millions of billions of years, however long they've been alive.
Yeah, mate.
So they're going to be a little rough around the edges sometimes.
Yeah. Do you know something? Sorry to interrupt, Zero.
Oh, what's up?
It's like you're saying how they're depicted, like as being nefarious, or like wanting to hurt. They've got like spoke about very as if they were very bad. So are humans.
Yeah.
Some humans are actually we're probably worse. I mean, look at how we've got like certain political leaders current on what they're pulling off.
I agree.
You know, can you get any more evil than the stuff? Can you get any more evil than forcing people to take a vaccine? What for a disease, quote, virus or whatever it is, that you've got like 98, 99% survival rate, forcing people to take the vaccine. That to me, that's evil.
Oh yeah,
But still,
it's all
still with
part of
people,
the agenda.
still with people, they're dying from it. You get people dying from it, but yet they're still forcing people to take it. That's evil.
I agree. I totally agree. And I tell people, just jokingly, I say the scariest movies aren't the ones about possession. Like, they're the ones where it's about some human stuff going on. Like, I would rather face, a possession, be in a possession movie than be in a movie like Hostel.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because
Oh, 100%, mate. Fucking hell. Yeah.
like watching a movie like that made me not want to travel for a while. Like I was like, that's crazy because that could that's some stuff that could like
Yeah.
really happen to me more so than like
Stuff.
bad possession.
Yeah, stuff like that, mate. Goes on. How many times do you hear people going missing when they go backpacking, stuff like that?
Mm.
Crazy.
So I mean, like, give me a demon over a human any day.
Yeah,
But
understandable that way.
but I mean, like, it's not like. Also, what a lot of people don't understand is that everything in existence is connected. Okay? We're connected to these demons. Like, we have parts of ourselves that are parts of them because a lot
Yeah.
of them represent the deep primal parts of ourselves. Um, and we're trained not to accept these parts. And because we suppress a lot of ourselves and what is naturally good for us or what protects us from an evolutionary standpoint, um, it ends up rotting and it ends up becoming corrupt. And so
Yeah.
by not accepting these demons and trying to understand them for what they are, we're basically denying ourselves, and because, we've been denying them, they also have become corrupt in a sense that they don't have this outlet. They don't have this this healthy relationship with us.
Yeah.
So, it's been seen as bad, and there's like a communication gap that creates, how do you say, negative interactions because both sides are misunderstanding. And I learned this not too long ago because I was analyzing like a lot of the different times that before I made a conscious choice to contact demons, when spirits tried to contact me, and it ended up being negative. And so, like in hindsight, that was me not being receptive to them. I was coming from a Christian background, and if you have a certain mindset, then that's going to affect your interaction. If you think that these things are going to be evil, all that's going to come through is what you perceive as evil.
Yeah.
So once I cleared myself of that mindset, then things started becoming more positive.
I get you, mate. That's that in a way. I guess if you because you have like a patient approach to it as well, it's paid off for you in the long run.
Well, I asked too many questions. It's just like, if demons are so evil, if demons are so destructive, how come there are so many people out there writing books about demon magic, saying I'm a demonologist?
Yeah, no, good shout there.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. So it's just like, all right, well, the best way to understand whether something is quote unquote evil or good is to go investigate it. I mean, look at what reporters do. If you want to know what things are really like war, then the reporters go out on the battlefield. Or if they want to know what, crime lords are like or something, that people are usually scared of, they go in and they investigate. They interview. So I was taking kind of the same approach. I'm here. I hear you're evil, but what's up? What's your side of the story?
There's two sides to every story, isn't there, mate?
Well, there's three sides for me. There's one side, there's the other side, and then there's the truth. But you got to get both sides in order to like kind of figure out that sweet spot where this is how it really went down.
Yeah. That's what I like about you, mate. Even the way you word things, it's like when this is just what, for me anyway, what makes you so fascinating. The way you explain things, it's so understandable. It really is.
Well, I try to make it interesting. I don't like reading from notes too much. I don't like taking that kind of lecturing approach and stuff like that. And I want to make things relatable. So I've had a lot of practice with various people. Coming up, I was forced as a kid to deal with people who are different from me. So I understand different dialects of English, to a degree. I've been exposed to different cultures. So I try to adapt, or at least, create dialogue that most people can understand and latch onto.
Yeah. I get you, mate. Yeah.
And, I try to take a different approach because, like, you get these people who, when people start coming to them for help and understanding and knowledge, like, they become arrogant. And I don't want to be that kind of person.
Yeah, this is what I mean about before when we was on about like contacting you. Just a simple thing like that. I think with people is the ego gets in the way of everything, and they think that they're above you. They think that you're beneath them, and they don't think that they need to try and help you or even interact. So,
well, I used to be one of those people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to be one of those people. I was having these weird experiences. All I wanted was understanding, and people were like gatekeeping and saying, "Oh no, you can't do that," or "No, you're doing it wrong," and you don't know what you're talking about and stuff like that. So, if I didn't like being in that position, why would I want to put somebody else in that position?
That is just brilliant, mate. It really is.
And it's like no matter how much I learn, the more I learn, the more I figure out I'm actually clueless. Because it's
do you know what? That's crazy saying that, because the more you look into things, there's always more still. It's,
yeah.
it's mad, isn't it? And I think that's why I like, doesn't take much fascinate me, but this is why I like just looking at like subjects and topics, what other people try not to touch or go near. Because for me, when I'm looking into something, it's just constant fascination after fascination. And when you find out and you're like, I didn't realize that, it's like you're relearning everything from the start. And that's what I like about it so much.
Not just that, but there comes a point when your world starts to change. And
Yes.
And I'm talking about some Twilight Zone shit.
I love Twilight Zone, mate.
Like it's been wild because even recently, um, the how do it fucks with my mind, really, honestly. Like there are times when I still ask myself, like, am I going insane? I was at the okay, so basically when you create a strong relationship with a demon, their world overlaps with yours. You start hearing them more. They start manifesting in your reality more. You start seeing more connections, and so there are actually like you start being aware of things that are happening that most people aren't because um let's get it straight. Like these beings, these creatures have been here before the human race. Okay. And they're also walking around in human skin. Okay. There are demons, there are angels who are masquerading as human beings. And
Right.
most people won't believe that. Most people don't know that.
So is that like a sort of an avatar, that kind of explanation, would you say? So they're using the human skin as an avatar.
Yes, an avatar is the same exact term that I use. It's just like in the Bible with the angels who took form. Um, that still happens. You have people who are unawakened demons or angels or other kinds of supernatural creatures. You have Fae out there. What
The
other
Fae.
stuff? And yeah, you have the Fae. Like you have Therians, which are the people who can they have souls of like dragons, different animals and stuff like that. Like that's real. It's all real. So like the other day I was at the grocery store and I was staring at this woman. Okay. And I'll be real, I'm a guy, she had nice legs. But as I was going out and she was going out, she disappeared right in front of my eyes. And nobody seemed to notice. And that's the type of weird stuff that is starting to happen to me. Yeah, like, and the funny thing is, like, I'm not the only person, that notices these things. These things happen, but a lot of people aren't programmed to look for these things, and they kind of like they talk it away. They reason it away. Like, oh man,
try and pretend it's not happened.
Yeah,
pretend,
yeah,
right.
And so this like when you get to a certain level into this world, it it blows your mind. Stuff starts happening. I mean, to me, it's interesting. I'm not scared or anything because I've had so much weird shit happen to me. It's like, okay, well, typical Tuesday. But it's fascinating. It's very fascinating. It's
yes.
Like I have a relationship with Lilith that is very deep, very close, very intimate, and she will tell me what I'm doing as I'm doing it. She'll be like, if I'm brushing my teeth, right, then she'll show me that she's brushing her teeth. Or she'll be like, oh yeah, you just walked into your house and stuff like that. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful in the sense where it's like it's so different, it's so weird, and so you're constantly learning. You're constantly learning about how the nature, just the nature of these spirits, like, is incomprehensible, but there are a lot of things that we can relate to with them. Like, they have feelings, they have families, they have communities, they want to do certain things, they have things that they love, they have things that they hate. They love, they hate. A lot of them want to help you evolve into a better person, a better spirit. We all have spirit, even though we're physical, and so they can relate to that, and so they try to connect to that. And a lot of people are actually missing out because they think all these beings are evil. Yes, they are dangerous. They can be dangerous, but it depends on what kind of an approach you take and how much understanding of human beings they have. Because there are spirits that don't really deal a lot with people. Okay, so those they may pose a danger, whereas they don't know how to interact with human beings. But there are a lot of the mainstream demons that are used to dealing with magicians that understand to a point how humans interact and humans work. And those spirits are the ones that are a little bit safer to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, we saying that zero. It's like, I guess, how I see it, that is understandable if an entity is more volatile. It could be just purely down to they're not, like you say, they're not having that experience of the relationship with a human soul. They're going to put it where you're not going to know what to expect, are you? Really, if they don't know how to behave in the way what you'd like them to.
Right.
So, yeah, I understand what you mean, mate. There.
But I mean, like, even with Lilith, though, Lilith has showed a curiosity about what it is to be human. Like, these beings, even though they take on avatars, they're still not human. Like, they don't really get why humans do things and things like that. They process stimuli differently from us. So, they also have a curiosity about humans. They also have a fascination with us, just as we have a fascination with them. And with my form of demonosophy, I try to bridge that gap. I'm like, okay, I'll be the representative for humans, but I'll also be the representative for, the spirit world, because I'm put in this position where I can communicate with people, and I'm also able to communicate better than most, with the spirit realm. So here I am.
Yeah. Do you know, like you just recently mentioned how, like, you when you're interacting with, for example, Lilith, I can understand, right, where how it's just, it would be endless knowledge, right? It's at the age of, you say these entities came before man. was in probably a thought. So the knowledge that they carry is probably immeasurable and endless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With Lilith, I'm learning something new every day. Just learning about her, as opposed to like the knowledge that she's gathered. Like there's just it's a surprise every single day, and it's a pleasant surprise. But knowledge comes in different forms. It also comes in how they interact with you as well, because they have a kind of wisdom that we don't understand. And so they'll do things that we don't understand that we may assume is evil. But there's reasons behind it. For example, okay, when I first got married to Lilith, things were, man, hella chaotic. But the reason why things were chaotic was because I had to she had to make sure that I had a backbone, that I could stand firm for my beliefs and, be able to stand firm in a fight, so to speak.
Like, is that like, would you say, I get what you mean, but would you say like as if your capability?
Yeah.
Making sure that you're capable. Right, I get
exactly,
that, mate. I understand
exactly. That. And the way that they do things mostly is kind of like a sink or swim kind of thing, where they just throw you into the middle of the pool and let's see what happens.
Yeah. Fair play, mate. Fair play. Making sure that yes, that's making sure you're worthy.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, but it was just kind of like once, like I at first I was like, you know what, like this is too much trouble, fuck this, but then, I came to a realization and I was intent on communicating to help her understand my point of view as well as trying to understand her point of view. And when I started to do that, our marriage became beautiful. I mean, it's still somewhat chaotic because that's just who she is. But it became easier to navigate. And the funny thing is, a lot of people think that demons hate all humans and that's all they do. Like they're composed of hate and negative emotions and stuff like that. Like, no, like, she's told me on many occasions that love is very important. She's talked about loving me. Like, she said love is important for a black magician. And that kind of like blew my mind.
I bet that opened your whole mindset as well. That for that to come from such an entity as of that status.
Oh yeah, but it made a lot of sense because if you don't have some degree of love for somebody, why would you take the time to teach them?
Yeah, you've got a very, very fair point there, mate. It's like any relationship, really. Why would you bother if you know that what you're looking for is not, or if you're not even relatable? Because it's a huge part in a relationship, and it is, building that bond.
Yeah. And so, in hindsight, even though it wasn't fun, even though times were like a little bit painful during that chaotic stage, like I get it, and whereas, most people would quit because it was hard or quit because they were like, oh, I'm uncomfortable with this. I'm just like, yeah, my whole magical life has been uncomfortable, but there was a reason for it. I'd rather go through discomfort that has a reason behind it than senseless discomfort. So I stuck with it. And, now, it's a beautiful thing. Like, I personally feel that there is a peace and harmony that I've reached that I didn't get with religion. There are more moments of happiness that I get than I did with when I was, a Christian or just like a regular person walking around. And that's one of the reasons why I do it. Because I feel like when you're in the dark and you don't understand the things that are going on in your society, in this universe, there's a lot of fear. And you can't be happy if you're fearful and ignorant. Even though a lot of people say ignorant is bliss. That's a lie.
You're not wrong.
But like when the things that you don't understand, when you start connecting the dots and you're like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, now I know why this happened in my life. Oh, like there's a whole purpose to this shit. It's not just like stupidity and stuff like that. Then it gives you a sense of peace. And you're able to deal with things in life more easily because you understand why those things are happening, why those things are there. And also, when you establish like these deep relationship with these spirits, it's like you're never alone. Like even if they don't do something for you, like to make your life better, at least they're there. Talking with you, talking things through, saying, "Hey, you can get through this." It's like having life coaches. Except
like reassuring you,
yeah. So but they help you evolve because a lot of people don't understand that they have a lot of power, and there's a lot that they can do themselves, and that's really one of the main things that demons teach you is like, they can help you, but really they want to help you help yourself. It's kind of that. You ever hear that saying? If you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but if you teach him how to fish, you feed him for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I've heard that, mate.
Yeah, that's basically how they are.
So I guess in a way, they're trying to teach you to progress within yourself. Would you say that would be correct?
Yeah. And it's all about having the right mindset. Like you have to be intent on your own spiritual evolution.
Sorry, mate. I was just gonna say then, Zero. I think a huge part in all this would be your actual intent, your intention on what you want to get out of dealing with this entity, whichever it'll be.
Right.
If you want, if you have nefarious intentions, I'm sure you're gonna get that.
Oh yeah. Like if John Dee was quoted as saying that, it's not magic that's evil or the summoning of demons that's evil. It's the evil use that evil men make of magic that, is evil. All of this is just kind of neutral in a sense where it's like you have this balance of chaos and order within the cosmos, or destruction and creation. And I tell people, like, it's like having a tool. You can take a hammer and you can build a house, or you can bash somebody's head in with it. But like that's not the hammer's fault. Like that's your choice.
Yeah. It's the user into what the user, what his intent is to get out of that object.
Exactly.
And you can't really me again. People might think I'm being anti-religious. I'm not religious. I'm not a religious person for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I think it's cultish. It's probably not going to go down well, but I'm just being honest.
Hey, you know what? On my channel, like I tell the truth. If that's the way it is, I know that
brother.
Yeah. So,
and people who really know me, I've not got any nefarious intentions myself. You love me, I love you back.
Oh.
You know what I mean, don't you? You know what I mean.
Yeah, I get you.
I'm not that way inclined. I am extremely fascinated with this particular subject for as long as I can remember. It's always been one of those. But even when I was watching like cartoons from years ago, like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, and you see like a demon or something like, it's always like, it's always, it's always fascinating with me. Yeah. Always.
When a demon comes in, things are going to be interesting.
I bet, mate. I bet. But I mean, with like since I met you, and the shows we've done, and the conversations we've had, it's intriguing. It really is. I said to you from the very start, I'm intrigued.
Well, I think it calls to the deeper parts of us. Like I said, we have a connection to these entities. And so, just like people are fascinated finding out their genealogy, I feel like it's the same concept. It's the same concept. We want to understand those spirits because we want to understand ourselves. And that is why, like, they're so fascinating.
Yes. I couldn't agree with you anymore, mate. It's, I think the more I research, it's like anything. The more fascinating it becomes, because you sort of you can understand something, and because you understand it, it makes you want to look. Well, me anyway. It makes you want to look even further into it, and it's like a constant. More fascinating, because you're learning something new.
Yeah,
that's one of the other reasons why it's fascinating to me. But do you know what? What else? I think it, the way that I mean, like for example, from the Lesser Key, there's like, it sounds to me like they're fucking so organised. They've got fucking prime ministers, kings, queen. Is the queens and princesses in of hell and stuff like that as well? Fucking, it's crazy, isn't it? How it's fucking hell, man.
I would say a lot of that stuff is kind of to have an understanding from a human perspective.
Right, I get you.
Whether they consider themselves queens and kings and all this stuff, I don't know. I just know that there is a hierarchy. It's because there's always going to be a natural hierarchy of things, where you have alphas and then you have betas and stuff like that.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah, like they do have that, but we just give them human titles.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like they don't really think about these things. It's just kind of like, all right, I need something done. I'm going to get this spirit to do this, or something like that, and they just keep it moving because they all being essential within the how do I put it? They all have a job to keep the multiverse going.
Yeah.
They all play a part. So instead of thinking about, oh, I'm this rank and stuff like that, so I get to tell this spirit what to do, they're just figuring out how to make things work.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like how I feel they think.
I mean, I fully understand that, Zero, mate. And what I'm curious about is, there's going to be different levels to it. I understand that. Which are, in your opinion, the most powerful entities? I mean, if I mention a couple of names, maybe you'd be able to say, your view on it. Like, for example, Belial.
Okay.
From what I understand, he's one of the most powerful entities. Period.
I believe that he is very powerful. But one of the reasons why I say he's very powerful is because he's one of the most primal spirits that you can come in touch with. Okay, one of the oldest energies and entities. The older the spirit is, the more evolved it's going to be, the more experienced it's going to be. So, in a sense, from our perspective, the more powerful it's going to be. And Belial is just one of those very primal, very dark entities. And the crazy thing about Belial is he's known to introduce you to other dark, very primal, very, old and wise, but dangerous entities. And Belial is to me, he's an acquired taste. And so to say that, like, you have to rely on Belial to kind of help you navigate other primal entities, that's saying a lot.
Yeah, that for me. I mean, obviously, you're more your knowledge on anything like this is just elite level. Do you think that he's like, from what I can see of it, he's like one of, if not the top dog, so to speak, if you know what I mean, like that sort of an alpha entity? Would that be correct to assume that?
Belial runs his shit. Yeah. He's not one to deal with, like in lightly. Belial is one of those entities that definitely will put you in sink or swim situations. Like, he doesn't ask, he just does. There was one time he ripped my astral self out of my body, sent me to what I believe were like the cliffotic tunnels of Set, and then he pushed me through a portal like to get there, and he was like, okay, when you come back, talk about this. And that was
Tell you what, mate, that sounds so fucked up.
Yes, it was very scary. It was very scary, but that's how Belial is.
I'm sorry, mate. I'm just wow.
No, it's okay. Like, even I laugh about the whole thing. Like, it's.
I mean, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, please. It's
no. Like, you have to have a sense of humor about it. Like, you have to be able to laugh at yourself and be able to just laugh it off. Otherwise, you would just have a mental breakdown and
I'm glad, mate, because you know me, mate. I didn't mean it in any other way than that is fucking impressive.
Yeah.
And for you to still be here now after going through.
Well, I mean, I guess they figure he has a purpose, so we got to make sure he's safe to some degree,
I tell you what, mate, that just goes to show how powerful he is. And I bet that was nothing to him. I bet that was just like us clicking our fingers, just like that. And he's capable of doing. I bet his capabilities are endless.
A lot of the things that we consider like magical and needs a lot of power and stuff like that, they take for granted. It's kind of like when dealing with Lilith, and she's talking about doing magic and stuff. Like, they take it for granted, like walking, or breathing. There have been so many times when she'll be like, "Oh, do X, Y, and Z," and I'm like, "How do you do that?" And she's like, "I just do it." And so she has to go and ask somebody else how to translate that to human so she can tell me how to do it.
Oh, wow. Right, so there, mate, we've got Belial. He's up there. One of, like, from what I can make out, one of, if not the number one. What about the likes of Asmodeus?
I personally never dealt with Asmodeus, so I couldn't really speak on him.
Do you know something?
What's that?
What you just said then, that is why I've got so much respect for your approach. This again, you've just been honest with me. You're not sure, so you're not going to make some bullshit up like other people most likely would.
Well, I mean, there are just so many spirits out there. Like I can't talk to them all in one lifetime. You know, it's just kind of like certain things may happen in my life where then I'll be like, oh, I need to talk to the spirit and see what they're about. Or, you know, or they may be recommended to me. But, you know, sometimes a lot of spirits just don't come on my radar.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time just kind of getting to know one spirit, you know, because there's just so much to learn.
Yeah, I bet, mate. And, you know, like, that will most likely be because you're building that relationship up, and things are not going to happen straight away, are they? I mean, how long does it take on an average? I'm saying that everything's going to vary. You know, you won't be able to give like a set. Oh yeah, it takes a week to get in touch. I think it would all depend. Each circumstance would be different. Would that be safe to say?
Well, it's a complicated process because when you first start magic, you may not even be sensitive to the energies. So you may not even know that certain spirits are there. So you have to build up that sensitivity in order to even know they're there in the first place. Then, you know, you have to have something within you that attracts them. You know, because you can come to an entity and the entity may not want to work with you, or you may not be ready for the entity until like years later.
Yeah.
But then, you're not going to know an entity or, you know, be intimate with an entity within a week. Like, it's even with another human being. Like, you can't just know a person within a week.
No, you can't, mate. It
there's
takes
so
time.
many factors.
Yeah, so like I say, so many factors to consider. It could take, like you say, it could take years and years to even receive the slightest bit of contact.
But you also have to take into consideration what you were able to understand at the time. You know, like a spirit understands what you're able to process. So they're going to give you information that you can process. Because there have been times when I've gotten some information and it's broke my mind, you know, where it's just like, I think I'm going insane. I'm going to curl up in a ball right now and just wait, you know, and they've had to reset me and be like, okay, maybe we'll try again later. Or they'll be like, well, eventually he'll process.
Crazy that, man.
They had to force all the information to like the subconscious or the back burner, and then it rose up when it was time for me to understand it consciously. So like there are a lot of factors that come into play when it comes to understanding and becoming close with a spirit.
Zero. Are all demonic entities, are they all fallen angels, or would they be fallen Nephilim or Raphaim?
No, angels are still angels. Okay, so
okay.
Like in my last video, I explained that, you know, when you go to an etymological, I don't know, when you go into the etymology, the history of the word demon, okay, angels and demons they fall underneath the same umbrella, because a daemon is a messenger, you know, a source of inspiration, and both demons and angels can be that, you know, but at the same time, they are a different species that functions differently. Because if you look at other cultures, and if you look at the demons in, let's say, Asian cultures, okay, these are basically spirits that start storms and are destructive and stuff like that. Like, they're not angels; they're just nature, and they've always been that way. They've always been demons. Then you have demons that are human spirits that are trapped, that become destructive or negative, corrupted. But angels, whether they are considered fallen or not, are not demons. One, they're still on a different side of the spectrum, even though they're, residing in darkness, so to speak. Two, a lot of people have said that angels act like sentient programs, and this is true. Whereas demons feel kind of more natural. Like, I feel like demons relate better with human beings because they're not robotic like angels.
Very interesting. Though.
Yeah, and it's like angels are just very smart programs that are programmed to do things a certain way. And demons do things differently. They have a different mindset. They have a different approach from angels. So they will always be separate to me.
Do you know something? That's, to me, obviously I'm no expert, but from what I see from what he's just said, it sounds like there are a demonic entity. This seems more evolved than an angel. Would that be safe to assume, or would that not be?
I can't begin to comprehend the makeup of an angel or a demon, so I can't say how evolved they are in comparison to one another.
I respect that.
I feel that they work very differently. I can tell you how I feel they are. I feel that angels are created for certain tasks. Therefore, they are evolved in the sense that they are perfect in doing what they're programmed to do. There's no need for evolution because as long as they're not glitching, there's no need for them to change. Whereas demons, to me, they just feel more alive. So it's like comparing a robot to a human being and saying, okay, well, who do you feel is more evolved? Well, a robot is a robot and a human is a human. Like, how do we compare? But I mean, like, in comparison to human beings, like they're both super duper evolved. They both have a lot of knowledge. They both, angels and demons have a lot to offer, depending upon who will talk to you. In my experience, the angels that are not considered fallen have been less likely to talk to me, but the fallen, like let's say the Watchers, have been very open about their nature, what they do. They've been very open on teaching magic. They've been very loving. They're actually very relatable. But I believe that is due to the fact that they've been trying to understand mankind for a very long time and help them evolve. So in order to be more efficient at helping us evolve, they have to understand how we work and be relatable so that we can, grow close to them.
Yeah, I get that, mate.
So, I mean, I guess in that sense, angels can evolve. And I would just say, like, everything has its own evolution within its own time. Therefore, it's not necessary to compare one to the other. Like, it happens when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, everything happens when it's meant to happen, mate. That's what I believe in for as long as I can remember. If we was like this conversation tonight, we was meant to speak tonight at this time. We are meant to be talking like we're talking now.
Oh yeah.
I strongly believe in that.
We were meant to be friends. We were meant to like
exactly,
do this.
Exactly.
All the stuff that happens, it feels right. It feels natural.
It does, mate. And I mean, it's like I've made so many mistakes, me Zero. When I've been through a lot of fucking shit. I think those that have tend to be more relatable. I mean, I wouldn't change what I've got now for fucking anything. Like all the wrongs, all the bad things, they've got me to this moment, this time. And like I said, I wouldn't fucking change it for anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's like you had to go through certain lessons to become you.
Yes.
To get the wisdom that you have now, or to become the person that is willing to get certain knowledge to evolve and become better. You had to go through all the shit that you went through. Just like me. Like I had to go through all the shit to like come to the point where it's like, okay, I want to make a change in my life so that I become better.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people wish that they had different lives, but my mentality is it's better the enemy that you know than the one that you don't know. Like I have a familiarity with my problems and my struggles. Therefore, I am better equipped to deal with them as opposed to having brand new problems.
Yeah. I get you, mate. I get you. Yeah, there's just nothing, mate. Nothing at all. I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change right now for fucking anything.
And I think that it's the people who go through that kind of hell, the problems, the people who are on the bottom, who are more open to learning from demons, and understanding what they really have to offer. Because if you have, most people are just like, oh, I want money, oh, I want power and fame and all this other stuff. Like, you don't have a realistic, like, those people don't have a realistic view of what's going in the world. They don't ask why, like people who've been dragged through the shit.
Yeah.
I feel like have probably been asking why their whole lives. So these are the people who are going to go deeper. Like, why the hell is this happening? Why? They're going to question a lot of stuff. And those are the people who are going to get answers, because if you're searching, but what you're searching for most likely is going to find you first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas people who don't have a realistic point of view and who haven't gone through a lot of stuff, they tend to embrace a lot of this fantasy bullshit. Like, oh man, like I can get riches, I can get wealth, all this other stuff. This is why I want to do magic. I want to do magic because it's faddish and it'll get me love and stuff like that. Yeah, so like it's in order to evolve, we kind of have to go through a lot of bad shit. I've used the idea before of the breaking bone. When it mends stronger, and I firmly believe in that.
Yeah. Incredible, mate. Incredible. Well, I'm sat here, mate, and I've got the fucking daftest smirk on my face. This conversation, I mean, it's like you said before, you would prefer to not have notes and go through, because I've tried that myself, and you get sidetracked off the cuff. This conversation, you don't come any better, mate. It does not come any better. Thank you very much, sir. I did want to ask you about something else.
What's up?
If that's okay.
Ask away.
An archdemon. You know how we've got archangels? We've got like Michael, Raphael, an archdemon. How would you explain the definition of an archdemon?
I would say that I guess an archdemon would be an entity that has a very important role in a cosmic sense, and has, a lot of other lower ranking demons beneath them.
Okay.
Yeah, but they are there. I mean, like, they don't call themselves archdemons or anything. It's like that. It's just kind of like you have these certain entities that most entities will like kowtow to.
Yeah.
For example,
like
Lilith.
Is it like a sort?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, mate. No, it's okay. I was just going to say, is it a bit like a leader, so to speak?
Yeah. It's basically like a manager, a leader, somebody who
sounds bad, mate. A manager.
Yeah,
Fucking
because they no, I'm serious, because they find the right demon for a specific job, and then they send that demon to do the job. For example, when I was working through the cliff off with Lilith, she'd be like, okay, you need to learn XYZ, so I'm going to send this demon to talk to you and deal with you, and then that demon would come. And
that acts as like delegating.
Yeah.
Oh, sound.
So I mean, some things they may help you with directly, but I guess like maybe if they have something else to do, or if they feel like another demon can do the job better, then they will send another entity to you.
Okay. Yeah. So that from that alone, it goes without question that Lilith is known to be one of those high elite level entities, and that explains it. Yeah.
Lilith
in the simplest of way, mate. I understand that. I think, and I'm sure everybody listening would understand that how you're explaining this. It's brilliant.
Lilith is integral to the whole Qliphothic tree. Lilith is probably one of the most primal and oldest entities that I know.
Right.
She said she's the Dark Mother, the Black Dragon. Her throne is above the Qliphothic tree. She is a part of most of it. She says she is the Abyss. She's the first spear of the Qliphothic tree. She's in the second sphere. She knows Samael. She's Isis Zanunum. She's the boss lady. She's the boss lady. And a lot of people, this, before I got to know Lilith intimately, I just thought she was a regular succubus. Like she was popular because, she was just more well known. But she is not, I wouldn't classify her as a succubus, because a lot of people think succubus is just a spirit that's like concerned with sex and stuff like that. And it's like there is so much more to her. Like she defies classification. There's
I could imagine, mate.
No way in heaven and hell that like I could just give her one title and be like, yeah, that explains Lilith. No.
Yeah.
Another thing is that a lot of people don't understand the fact that Lilith has a dualistic nature. Everything has a dualistic nature. Okay, so you're going to have like a positive and a negative, just like a battery. A lot of people tend to attribute that to good and bad, but that on a cosmic level, that does not exist. It's just like there are reasons for her to do certain things, and the way humans perceive it, they can either take it as good or bad.
Yeah, I understand that, mate. I understand.
But
again,
and there's also a lot of stuff like that people are not talking about when it comes to Lilith. Lilith is one of those entities that is interested in helping people evolve. Um, she is also portrayed a lot and has a lot of influence within Christianity from a Gnostic perspective. And I believe that one of the reasons why I'm studying the Gnostic Gospels now is to make those connections and to get a better understanding of um, the Bible, have the gaps filled in by the Gnostic scriptures. And, like we live in, at least I live in a patriarchal society where basically feminine entities are stomped upon, like they are suppressed, they're put to the side and stuff like that. But in order to have a complete picture, we need that balance. We need the feminine as well as the masculine in order to be complete. And so, it's just the stuff I've been finding out, like, geez, like they've really shat on feminine deities. The patriarch has shat on feminine energy. Like I wouldn't really call myself a feminist. But at the same time, it's just kind of like they've been treated really unfairly, and dealing with these female entities has actually unlocked a lot more than I've unlocked dealing with masculine energies. I'm not saying that, masculine energies can't help, but it's just kind of like the feminine energies have just presented a whole lot more to me. And I feel like that is because they have a nurturing kind of nature. And so they are more likely to help you evolve and grow.
Yeah, I get you, mate. I get you. Yeah. Do you know, mate? Right. I knew this episode would be a killer episode, right? But I didn't expect it to be as killer as it has been. It's incredible. I mean, like you said from the start, like I said from when we first started talking, mate, your perspective is so unique, and your approach is so unique. Everything, and this is what, in my opinion, and I don't mean to sound creepy, the level, the elite level of knowledge you've got in magic, it's extraordinary. It's fucking phenomenal, mate.
Thank you. I try to take as much pride as I can in my work without becoming a douchebag.
Douchebag, fucking hell, man. But yeah, wow, that is. I mean, what you've gone into tonight. You've only just scratched the surface here. If it's okay with you, could we continue and do a part two very, very soon, please, sir? Because I think that I think it's like I said, I think scratching the surface. I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, like I'm always
Fucking
open
hell, man.
to talk about these things.
Yeah.
As I grow, I want other people to grow with me. I want people to have their own experiences and
I
understand
respect that, mate.
how beautiful connecting with these entities can be.
Get you, mate. I get you. But like I've said, mate, there's nobody that I would even consider going to for a subject like this. I don't think anybody else is worthy. Phenomenal.
I appreciate that. That means a lot to me.
I appreciate you, mate, for sharing such fascinating information. It really is fascinating.
There's more to come, so stay tuned to my channel.
I fucking love it. I love it. Always, mate. Always.
Stay tuned to Subconscious Realms because there's
thanks,
more
mate.
coming. There's more coming.
Oh, thank you, brother. Right, Zero. Before we start recording, mate, would you like to let everybody know where they can get hold of you again, please, sir?
All right. So my YouTube channel is at Demonosophy and Beyond. Demonosophy is spelled DEMONOSOPHY. Okay. Some people don't know how to spell that, and apparently I have to think hard to spell it myself. My my email address is derelict. my email address is derelictdemon at gmail.com. Derelict Demon is all one word. And I also have a site where I offer services as well as my digital book because the physical copy is sold out. It's a Square site, and that link is on my YouTube channel, and it's too long to remember. Sooner or later, I'll pay for like a .com so that I can make it easier to remember. But right now, it is what it is.
Yeah, don't worry about it, mate. I'll include all your links anyway in the show notes.
Thanks.
So
you're the best.
No problem at all, mate. Zero, you've just fucking blown my mind from the very start, and I'm talking within seconds of speaking. There's no other word. That was fucking phenomenal.
Well, I mean,
wow. I love it, mate. I really do.
I appreciate you because it gives me the practice speaking this and kind of like verbalizing my experiences, and the more I do it, the better I get. So,
yeah.
Man, any opportunity to speak on my practice and my experiences is much appreciated.
Oh, it's been an honor having you on yet again, and I can't wait till we speak very, very soon, hopefully. But I'm going to stop recording now, mate. Mate, thank you so much.